Biohazard Bros Podcast.
Welcome back, fellow survivors, to another episode of the Biohazard Bros Podcast, the most off-the-cuff podcast about Resident Evil on the internet.
Yeah.
I am your host, Kenjira80, and this is my co-host, Colin255. What's up, brother? How you been?
Oh, all right. I've been sick lately, but I'm getting through it. I'm getting better finally.
Yeah, that's
But other than that, I
that's
can't
a shitty
complain.
thing.
Every day's a blessing, even when you're sick. So
Yeah, you're kind of in a video game slump right now, not knowing what to play and just kind of like playing whatever, fuck it at will, right?
I was for a little bit, but now I'm getting back into the groove of things. I think like for a little bit there, like nothing was sounding fun. Like Doom, even some Resident Evil games, I was like I was in like a little bit of a slump there, but I think I'm already out of it. It only lasted for like a week.
There was a game getting ready to drop that you were really wanting to play that's coming real soon that you were talking about. What was that?
You're not talking about Doom: The Dark Ages. You're talking about a different game.
No, not Doom: The Dark Ages. It was
Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 it's the sequel to Undertale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming out in like less than a week. It's made by one man, Toby Fox, so it's like very like retro looking.
No.
Have you ever? I know you never played it, but have you ever seen it before?
No. No, never. I don't think I've even seen it. I know what you said. Undertale.
Yeah, Undertale is what he.
I know what Undertale is.
Yeah, and the Deltarune is an anagram of Undertale. It has all the same letters in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Deltarune,
Yeah, it does.
Undertale, yeah. So,
That's
but
cool.
yeah, he dropped Chapter 1 of Deltarune like 5 or 6 years ago. Then he dropped Chapter 2 like a couple years ago, and now he's dropped in Chapter 3 and 4 on the same day in a few days from now, because this year is the 10th year anniversary of Undertale. So he's dropping them, and I believe he's finally adding trophies to them. There were no trophies for him before because they were just free, like demos. You might as well consider it. But now it's like a full package with all 4 chapters. So I'm so excited for that.
Well, that'll give you something to play at least.
Yeah.
I guess
sure.
it sucks when you don't know what to. I don't really get them kind of issues too much.
What?
I do get burned out whenever I'm playing nothing but survival horror after like every now and again.
Yeah,
but then I'll just switch up.
I think it happens to everybody, and every now and then, like
Yeah.
you'll get burnt out a little bit, but I don't usually get burnt out that often. I usually I might get burnt out a little bit with a certain genre, but then I'll bounce back with some other genre. Like if I get burnt out with survival horror a little bit, I'll jump to some RPG action like Final Fantasy. And then if I get burnt out on that a little bit, maybe I'll jump to some Doom action, and there's always something that sounds fun. So.
Right. I'm trying to get through Tormented Souls on the PlayStation this time. I got through it on the Xbox. Because I'm boning up to get ready for the sequel.
Yeah. I was just about to say that's another game that I'm so excited for, and I know you do. Tormented
Very
Souls
excited
too.
for it. Yeah.
Can't fucking wait.
Anyway, I'm trying to get through Tormented Souls, but I got sidetracked. I discovered actually how fucking cool Resident Evil Deadly Silence is on the DS. What a fucking banger. Dude, you can do door skips and stair skips on that.
Oh, can you?
So
Yeah,
absolutely.
We were talking about this earlier. I had that game back in the day on the Nintendo DS, but I haven't played it since I was like 16 years old. So that's almost 20 years ago now. So there's a lot.
That old already? Holy shit!
It's probably older than that. I don't know. It's around there. It's probably around that time. I feel like I was in high school when that came out, and I was in high school from 2004 to 2008. So, but the one thing I always liked about it and remembered is that you could use the stylus to tap their like butts, or when they're like have their back to you could tap them.
Jill's like buzz them and she's like, oh.
Have you tried it? Did you do it?
Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah. It's pretty funny. That's a nice little detail they added.
I like I don't want to like get too deep into the weeds with Resident Evil DS because I'd like to dedicate maybe like a portion of a show just for that, but I will say that the rebirth mode is a shit. There's like new mechanics.
There's a lot. Yeah, I don't remember all that.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. It's just really cool. The door skips, stair skips, new puzzles, new just new surprises for veterans of the original game that really know it well.
And
Just
we get
a new way to play it.
they gave us all that back on the Nintendo DS, and yet they can't give us
Yeah.
an RE1, 2, and 3 remaster in 2025. What the fuck,
Oh, we're
Capcom?
just gonna get that out of the way.
What the fuck, Capcom? Yeah,
Yeah, might as
every
well.
episode until they do it, I'm gonna bitch about it at least once per
Well,
episode.
PlayStation just announced. I thought I read on my Google feed that they're going to be releasing like 2,000 games over the course of the next however long, for backwards compatibility across across
PlayStation.
PS1, 2, and 3. Yeah,
Yeah,
so they got to have the at least 2 and 3 in that lineup somewhere if they don't remaster the fucking
yeah.
shit.
If they don't,
So
if Capcom themselves don't remaster it, then yeah, PlayStation themselves will drop it. Hopefully, just like they did with
I really
RE1.
think that they're going to release a remaster collection for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah,
I mean, it
that's
makes the
probably
most sense.
it does, but it's just like it makes sense. But what would have made more sense in my mind, anyways, is that they should have done it for the 25th year anniversary, almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago, because like I don't know. I just want the games to be out on modern consoles with trophies, with door skips for all three games. Like maybe even add in like a speed run mode. I've said this all before. Add in like a randomizer mode and shit. They could do so many cool things with an RE1, 2, and 3 remaster.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think you're right. If we don't get it this year, which we're probably not, I think they're gonna do it next year. I think by this time next year we will have an RE1, 2, and 3 remaster. By this time next
Oh
year.
yeah, I really think that they would save it for the 30th anniversary. Um, but I'm not going to hold my breath on them even doing that. So
Yeah, it's
you know
true.
what I mean.
Like
So
I'm hopeful, but it's Capcom, and I've been saying for years that it's not it hasn't come out this year, but I bet any time now. And then 5 years pass by, and it's still not out yet. So it's like I'm not gonna hold my breath for it.
hmm
But
well,
we're not here to talk about that, and we're not here to
yeah, we're
talk
not here
about
to talk
her.
about that. We set the table with the chit chat. Now let's jump into today's discussion. We are going to drudge through Resident Evil 6.
Everybody's
This is a
favorite
game,
Resident Evil.
yeah, everybody's favorite. This is a game
Everybody's
that is
favorite.
it has a fan base that are rabidly love it, and it's definitely, I find that the demographic of people that love this game are typically a little younger than your age group and younger, because this
Yeah,
is the Resident Evil they grew up on. Very heavy with the action.
very
That
heavy.
was
My
very,
God, it's
very prevalent. Yeah, very
like
prevalent in action games like
like th-
Gears of War
like this could have been a
and
Michael
and and
Bay
the
movie with all the
in the yeah the
explosions and
mid two
shit.
thousands. Yeah, the Michael Bay Transformers fucking era type
Yeah,
shit. You know,
like remember at the
this
very beginning
is
of the game when Leon and Helena are running away, and the whole street, like one explosion happens, and the whole street of cars just start exploding, and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
well, you know,
It's
it
insane.
actually it was like I like Resident Evil 6.
Oh, so do
It's
I.
very it's low on my list, but like, okay, if I look at it for what it is like, this game is the Resident Evil CGI
hmm
movie. It's the CGI movies of game of the gaming world. It plays like
Yeah,
a heavy movie, like a heavy
yeah,
CGI movie.
it kind of does. Yeah,
So, and they're very beloved even by me, and I love them. I love all of the CG movies, even Death Island for it's all its flaws.
I
But
still need to watch them. The only movies I've ever watched are the first one, and
the generation.
yeah, the very first Resident Evil movie ever, the one with Alice or whatever her name was.
Oh, that's the well, those are the live action
That's what I'm
movies.
talking
I'm
about.
talking.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm.
I've never
Yeah,
watched
yeah.
any CGI ones. I have seen clips
Oh,
of
they're
them
really
though.
good. They're really good.
I have seen
So
clips.
this game is like I've told you before. Whenever I was playing it last year on Xbox, it is a fucking Resident Evil CGI movie that you can play, and that's a good thing. Now, comparing it to the original trilogy and survival horror
We even
elements
RE4 and
of
stuff.
Resident Evil 4 and
Excuse me.
the total fun of Resident Evil 5 and what Resident Evil 5 was, because it was very epic, and with the showdown with Wesker and Chris Redfield. This game is okay for what it is. If you know, even if, like, I think it would have been more
It would have
I
been
think it
more
would
well.
probably been more. It would have been better with Wesker in it. Derek Simmons was kind of a forgettable character to me.
I was actually going to say I think this game would have been more well received if it wasn't a
Yeah,
Resident Evil game. If it would have been like,
or a spin-off.
you know what I mean? Like if like let's say this game would have just been its own completely different game, but everything else was the same. Like the gameplay was the same. It just wasn't a Resident Evil game. It was called, like, let's say the game was called, I don't know, just whatever, something else. Like it's just the fact that it's a Resident Evil game that it got such a bad rap because people are expecting, survival horror, and
Yeah,
we already were leaning into more action than survival horror, even with RE4, but definitely with RE5
yeah.
as well. But even compared to those games, this game has less horror in it than, like, it has almost no horror, no survival horror.
If they would have released it like they did with Revelations 2 episodically across the 4 campaigns, I think it probably would have been a little bit more well received,
You think so?
especially with yeah, I think so.
I don't think people really care
Perhaps.
for episodic stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's just me though.
All right, let me reiterate that because it was fucking arduous. It was a long fucking game. You got
Oh,
four
yeah, it
campaigns,
is longest
and
Resident Evil of the
it's the
main
longest
series.
of the games, arguably,
Yeah,
even longer than Resident Evil 4.
it's way
So,
longer.
oh yeah, so I think that if they would have released it episodically, it might have been a little bit more digestible, is what I should say.
Perhaps. I don't think that's the biggest problem, though. I think it has much bigger problems than that. Like, for one thing, QuickTime events. My God, there are so many fucking QuickTime events in this game, and nobody likes them. Nobody wants them. Like, okay, a few QuickTime events here and there aren't that bad, but my God, this game is like overloaded with stupid ass QuickTime events, and I just hate that
Hmm.
shit. And also,
Yeah, I don't
when
like
you
QuickTime events that much either.
when you play on like a normal difficulty, like I don't like how the zombies and like the enemies that you fight die. It doesn't feel as satisfying as like previous games or games that came after. Like
Yeah.
they kind of just melt and then disappear, and it's like weird
Well,
and like,
I had it put to me like this, that it's like when, especially like Derek Simmons or whatever, or even Alexa Gione going back to RE5 when because they kind of melded that started with like RE5. It's kind of like them like drowning in a like pool of their own like desperation and failure. So it kind of makes sense, but I get that.
yeah. Plus,
It,
Ari,
it's a product of its time.
it really is, yeah. That's
Did I
obvious. But even like
did I
Ari,
call
what's that?
did I call her Alexa? Did I say Alexa Gione? I always say that. I mean, it's Excella, right? Yeah, Excella Gione.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I
I
didn't
don't
even
mean it.
catch that. My
I
bad.
didn't mean to interrupt. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Go
no,
ahead,
you're
brother.
fine. But even like RE3, like with the enemy Ustanek, the Ustanek enemy, the big unstoppable guy, he's supposed to be like the nemesis replacement for RE6.
Yeah.
Like it's like they bring back so many. It's like they're trying to combine every Resident Evil game into Resident Evil 6, but it just doesn't work out. I don't know. It just
Well,
like,
this game was a little bit too ambitious. That's kind of its
yeah,
shortfall
and
here.
like
You know what I mean?
and a lot of times, like, it just doesn't. I don't know, man. Like, trust me, I like the game. I really do. I like it. It is my least favorite Resident Evil game, though. Like, of the main series, we're not counting spin-offs. Of the main series, it's my least favorite. But I still like it. I still have fun with it. Hell, I just played it 2 times last year. Played it 2 times
Yeah.
in a row.
Well, it's tied
With
for
every
shittiest
character.
game in the series for me with Village. So, but that's
How
not
fucking
really.
dare you?
I know. Well,
We are no longer co-hosts. You're fired. I'm just kidding.
fired from my own show. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
you know how much I love Village, and you go right on this podcast and shit all over it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm not shitting on it. It's
I'm
just,
just kidding. We all have our
yeah, I know.
opinions.
I'm just saying that
That's fair. Village isn't the best game in
those
the
two
world.
are
It's not.
the least impactful to me. They're the least,
That's understandable.
but that's not me saying I hate them. They're just at the
Yeah,
bottom of the rung.
I
That's
got you.
all.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
still good games for
yeah,
what they are.
yeah.
And I think I think especially Village, it would be great as a self-contained story, and it pretty much is. And that was the good, the best route to take with it. But anyway, back to Resident Evil 6. Yeah, this game was released in 2012.
Yep. I bought it on the day it came out,
yeah, it
October
was.
2nd.
I mean, after the sale, now after the explosive sales numbers for RE5, did this initially sell well right out of the bag, right
Yeah,
out of the
yeah.
gates?
RE6 is one of the highest selling RE games. Also, it's up there. Like
Yeah.
I believe it's in the top 3 or 4 highest selling Resident Evil games. So RE5 and
hmm
RE6 are looked at by a lot of RE fans as two of the worst, and yet they're two of the highest selling RE games. RE5 is the highest selling RE game or was for the longest
For
time
the longest time,
up
yeah.
until recently,
Till 2 remake replaced it.
apparently.
I think just last year actually it just replaced it.
But I don't know where RE6 stands, but I think it's in the top 3 or 4 of the highest selling games, which
It
is
has
just
to be because coming off of the hype of the sales of 5, it would only make sense people and
yeah.
I think the Capcom made it very clear this was a very ambitious project. They were promising like a grand scale, like epic. What it
Yeah.
is it was like worldwide, something that like every Resident Evil incident, every incident in the Resident Evil series has always been self-contained, and like for
Yeah, but this
the
one
whatever. Yeah, but
was
this was
everywhere, all over the place.
everywhere. Tall
All
Oaks,
also on top,
China,
yeah,
just everywhere.
and it even took place across different time periods. Like like in
Yeah,
Chris's campaign, they did flashback to 6 months prior to when he lost
that
his
didn't
teeth.
really, the way that they handled that too. It doesn't really like unless you're really paying attention. It really can like go right over your head. Like I had no idea.
Well,
Like,
that can be
all
said
right,
with
take for
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So um, what's his Jake and Sherry? I didn't realize they had been locked up in their section,
yeah, for
and
six
not trying to
months,
jump ahead for 6 months.
6 months,
And when I
and
learned that,
then
I learned that on a podcast myself, and I'm like, what the fuck?
and then
Like
they just
I
so
guess they
happened
could have
to.
handled it better, but
Yeah, and I always found it so weird that they just so happened to plan their escapes on the same exact day. Like, what are the odds of that? I always thought that was dumb. But
plot armor, buddy.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And also just Jake having no shirt on and no weapons, and there's like three of the I can't remember what the bad guys are called in that game. The
They're called Juavo.
Guavo, that's it. Yeah,
hmm
they're just having their guns aimed on them, and Jake's just like. It's like nothing to him. He takes them out easily, shirtless, no weapons or nothing, no problem for Jake. So it's like, how did he even get captured in the first place? If you know what I mean, if he can just do that, and then Sherry, same thing. She escapes on the same day, and then yeah. So that was their 6 month period. That 6 month period was also the same, I believe, same 6 month period from Chris's past to present. Also, like. So those were two 6 month periods for Chris's campaign and Jake's campaign. I also found it funny that Jake was the main like kind of quote unquote main character of his campaign, even though we've never met him before, but we know Sherry from RE2.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like Piers is like the second player character of Chris's campaign, and Helena's the
yeah,
second player character of Leon's, but Sherry's the second player of Jake's.
yeah,
That's a little bit weird since we know Sherry from RE2, but we don't know Jake from this is the first time Jake's ever been in a game. But it
yeah.
it,
That's true.
it,
And
it,
Boyd, I'd tell you what.
it makes sense though that they would do that
Yeah,
because he's supposed to be like
did
Wesker's son or
Sherry
whatever.
did Sherry ever fucking mature into a kick-ass? Well,
Sexy
not just
ass.
yeah, but
I
she's
know that's
sexy
where you're
too. But
going. I know that's where you're
well,
going
no,
with
well, I that too. But like she
it.
matured into a badass
Yeah, and she and we
with
just
like superhuman
I was
powers.
gonna yeah I was gonna say
Okay,
but
so
we
her and Rose Winters are the only characters in all the series that have uh
well
mutant
I
powers.
would say Jake kind of does too. If you remember at the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
anyways at the end of the
kind of.
campaign he has a boxing match with Ustanek, the invincible guy, and he beats the shit out of him with his fists. Like
Well, he's got probably his daddy's strength. So
yeah. So he has to have some kind of super abilities because like and I always thought that was weird too. Like they're trying to stop this unstoppable beast Ustanak this whole time. I'm gonna call him Diet Nemesis from now
Diet
on.
Nemesis.
Yeah, or discount Nemesis. Because that's basically what he is. I actually like him though. I actually think he has a cool design. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. But that's beside the point. But here's what I'm trying to say. Throughout 5 chapters of Jake and Cherry's campaign, they're using guns, trying to take him out. They even team up with Liana and Helena to try to take him out. But then the way they finish him off is Jake just punches him to death. And I know he doesn't die from that technically, but it did more damage than any of the guns they do. So why didn't he just do that from the beginning? I don't get it. Like it's stupid, but whatever. And there's also, oh my god, there's so much stuff I want to get into that I'm just not thinking of. The Chris and Jake stuff. Oh my god, it's so dumb. Like when Chris mentions like I see your father in you. Like
It's
so
like he just had to like say, "Hey, yeah, I'm the guy that killed your dad."
yeah, like there was
He
no
could. He
reason
did.
at all to bring that
There's no
up.
reason to say that. He could have just kept that shit to himself. What are you
Seriously.
trying to atone for? Yeah.
Yeah, like it would make sense if you felt bad for killing his dad, like and I guess that's the angle they were trying to take. But his
Maybe he
dad,
might have because I
but
mean,
his
weren't they
dad,
kind of like friends or coworkers
but they're
at one point?
yeah, but
You know?
his dad literally tried to destroy the whole world. So
Yeah.
you don't have to feel bad for killing this man that was literally trying to destroy the
Absolutely.
whole world. You don't have to feel
With
bad
knowing
for
how
that.
Chris is too, with his
That's true.
moral
With his
compass
yeah, that's true.
to want to stand up to like evil no matter
Yeah,
what, and do the right thing.
And Jake realizes eventually that Chris was in the right and that he did what he had to do. At least that's
I
how
mean,
I
he's
look at
sort of
it.
the Boy Scout, the Boy Scout. Well,
Who?
Chris
Chris?
is Chris. Yeah,
Yeah,
Chris is sort of the Boy Scout of like the Resident Evil franchise. He's the Superman, if you will, to maybe Leon's Batman. But
yeah.
um,
You want to know something else that's funny? Is how many times Leon wrecks a vehicle? He wrecked a vehicle in RE2 original, and then I believe he wrecks 2 vehicles in RE6. He crashes 2.
yeah, revoke
So
this guy's fucking driver's license,
yeah,
right?
and on top of that, Chris loses all of his teammates multiple times. He lost a lot of his teammates in
And
the original.
the worst team leader in history.
Seriously, but they treat him like he's the best ever. He gets a new fucking team at the end of the game again. He gets a
I don't
brand.
know who's worse, him or Hunk.
I don't think I would want to join Chris's team because
Well, Hunk will just fuzz at his fucking crew on purpose to get the mission done, but Chris loses his crew due to whatever circumstance, maybe bad leadership or bad decision making, or
well,
maybe it's just
one of the crew he
I don't know,
loses in the flashback
to give him a
scene.
moral conflict.
Yeah, well, one of his crew that he loses, there's a guy named Flynn who is basically the notice me senpai guy to Chris, like he's like a suck up to Chris kind of. This is in the flashback for I think it's like chapter 2 of Chris's campaign. It's a flashback. It's 6 months prior. And it shows how he lost all of his crew except for Piers. And this is where fake Ada comes in at the fake, because there's 2 Adas in this game. There's
Yeah,
the real Ada all in red, and then the fake Ada, which
that we learn about in her campaign. That
yeah, her name is actually Carla, and you can tell the difference because she has blue on instead of red.
It's Carla Rad.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But the fake Carla throws, or the fake Ada throws some like kind of bomb when Chris and Piers get separated from the rest of their team, and it transforms them all into monsters, and then they have to take him out. So that's how he loses his team, and that's what makes him go into a big depression. And then that's when you flash forward to the beginning of Chris's campaign, when Piers finds Chris in the bar drinking himself to death and being an asshole to the waitress. And then Piers is like, "These were your men. Look at them."
Kind of very out of character for Chris for me.
Yeah,
honestly.
it really was. Yeah, I understand he's depressed because he lost another fucking squad and losing all his teammates. But it's like, it still is out of character. He was being a dick to the waitress and to everybody really in that bar. But Piers set him straight and got him back kind of. Got him back in line a little bit to where we could have a 5-chapter campaign with him. And then, unfortunately, by the end of Chris's campaign, Piers Piers bites the dust, and it's the saddest moment in Resident Evil.
Yeah, I mean, to some people,
It
yeah.
actually was kind of sad because I actually kind of liked
Well,
Piers a little bit. Like
I
he was
I have
okay.
I have my thoughts on this whole situation.
You
This
actually
was the perfect this was the perfect opportunity to wrap up Chris and kill him off and let Piers carry the torch and maybe
it,
give us some fresh new Resident Evil
yeah
and he could
that
have led the torch
that
and
could
it
have
would
been
have been
so,
more impactful. It would have been
but
more impactful. But I think because of like how they felt about losing Wesker and like such of the blowback,
yeah.
I think they're afraid to kill off their fucking
That's what, yeah,
characters
I was
or
gonna
they
say.
just don't
They're
want to
very
do it.
afraid because like that would be a bold move, and I would respect the hell out of it. But
Yes, I would absolutely.
imagine how many fans would be pissed off and would probably buy no more Resident Evil games because Chris Redfield dies off for good. Imagine how many fans would
Well,
probably be pissed off about that. So I
perhaps.
think that's why they're not gonna do it. Maybe though, maybe someday they will. But yeah, you are kind of right.
I mean,
That could have been an opportunity where Chris could have saved Piers
Neil
instead.
Druckmann killed off fucking Joel, and I
Yeah,
think the Last of Us 2 still sold pretty well.
oh, it sold amazingly well, but there's still a lot
Yeah.
of people that fucking hate it though. Like
Well,
it
you
sold really
gotta
well, but my
know the story,
God,
I guess.
like if you go to a YouTube channel of anybody talking about it and say you like the game, you're gonna get shit on because there's so many haters for Last of Us
Well,
2.
I always say it, the internet's a savage garden,
Yeah.
so you got to be prepared to crawl through the bramble
I personally like Last of Us 2.
of assholes.
I don't like it as much as the first one, but I personally like Last of Us 2, and I'm gonna stick to my
Yeah.
guns to that for the rest of my life. I thought it was a great game, but that's for another time. We'll talk about that some other
That
time.
is for another time, yes.
Yeah, but
We'll be doing a Last of Us episode one of these days soon.
oh, I can't wait because I
Uh,
love The Last of Us.
I can
But
at least talk about the first game, so.
yeah, for sure. Um, anyways, but yeah, another interesting thing about this game is you don't have to you can pick the order. Well, you start out as Leon and you're carrying like an injured Helena. That
By
happens.
default, right?
That happens no matter what. But then once you're done with that little prologue, you're able to pick you can pick the order of characters you play as. Except I don't think you can pick Ada yet until you have beaten the game. Until you beat the other three, I think you have to play at least in the original version, you weren't able to pick Ada. You had to so you could either play as Leon, Chris, or Jake. You can do them in any order. So you don't have to. I always did it in the order they presented it as. So I always did it Leon, then Chris's, then Jake's, then Ada's. But you don't have to do it in that order. You can choose to start with Jake's, then go back and do Leon's, and then do Chris's if you want to. And I think that's kind of interesting that you don't have to, like, you can choose the order of the campaigns you want to play them as. And I think in the more recent versions, the PS4 versions of the game, I think they let you even start with Ada. But I could be wrong about that. But I always thought
Well,
that was kind of cool, I guess.
okay, so speaking on that, like kind of to riff on that, all right, so and this is why the game is like feels so arduous because it's four campaigns that you're essentially retelling like the same events but from a
Sometimes, yeah.
different perspective,
Yeah.
yeah, across the game. Now what they could have did was um because you kind of get a semblance of closure with the game once you're done with Leon's campaign, which I have to say is pretty fucking fantastic out of all of them. I like
Leon's.
Leon's the most, absolutely. It's the
Yeah,
most survival horror feeling.
it is.
I like when you're in the catacombs and all that shit. It's fucking really
I'll
great.
probably say Leon's is the
Uh,
best
uh,
too, yeah. I
yeah.
actually
And
surprisingly
the
really
college
like
is it a
Jake.
college, a university? When he's at the university, it's pretty
Um,
tense and scary there.
College University.
He's at like a university or
Yeah, something
something.
like that. I
Yeah,
can't remember
something like
exactly what
that.
it is, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And then like he ends up in some catacombs. He's in Tall Oaks, and then
yeah,
like he's in some catacombs,
yeah.
and then he ends up in China, like the plane with the getting on the plane,
Oh,
on the
was a
run from
mistake.
the fucking on the run from the government because he's been framed by Derek Simmons for the killing of the president.
Fucking Derek
Um,
Simmons, man.
yeah, what a
What a
fucking
dickhead.
what a dickhead, yeah. And
Who Sherry happens to be working for, but she doesn't know that he's actually
yeah,
evil
it's all
to.
tied in. But
Yep.
anyway, excuse me, though the way they could have handled this, rather than have it be like, because you know how at the end of each campaign, play each of the campaigns you do, there's like credits roll, and then you can move on to the next one in any order you choose that you were just touching on a little bit ago.
Yep.
They could have like did that a little bit differently, where they could have like just cut it off as a cliffhanger, and then like you pick up on another campaign. It had a little bit more. I don't want to say streamlined, but a little bit more like fluid, of a one entire story with even with the different perspectives, rather than having it feel like it's an episodic thing. And then like, because that would have made like, it probably would have been more digestible for the time consumption of the game, because it's a very long game to get through,
So
is it not?
wait, I'm a little confused on what you're saying.
Okay, so what I'm saying is instead of ending each campaign that you do with
Yeah.
credits roll, and
Okay.
then you start another part of the campaign, just have it blend into another predetermined person's campaign in an order that would make it seem like
Okay.
like you're playing
Yeah,
like
yeah,
one game
yeah.
or a
Okay, okay.
movie.
I got what you're saying. I got what
Does
you're
that make
saying.
sense
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah. I see
All
what you're
right.
saying.
I would have liked to have seen it like that more so than how they did it, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they did it fine. It's just that it's just I don't know. It's just not my favorite because there's so much action. And there, let me start getting into some good things about the game because
Yeah, sure,
we've been
sure.
mostly shitting on it so far. There are some really
Okay.
cool things about the game, like the way you move.
Yes.
There's a variety of moves you can do that are not available in any other Resident Evil. Like how you can like forward flip and like jump on your back and then like roll around. Like if a zombie's coming near you, you can roll to the left or roll to the right and shit. Like the moves I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah, I
cool.
just that's
It
something I don't like, about the
really?
game though. But nah, not really.
Well,
It
I
feels
actually
like you're
kind.
fucking like John Wick or
Yeah,
or fucking or
but it's
Max
fucking
Payne
Leon
even.
doing it, and Leon's a badass. So
Well, yeah, I guess it makes sense for Leon, but everybody can do that. It's like a standard. Like if Leon would have had that ability, but nobody else, or maybe just him and Chris, but nobody else, I would have
I see what
probably
you're saying
appreciated
though,
more.
because Sherry
But
can
it's
do
like,
it,
everybody does that move, so it's
and
like it was made
Helena.
for that game.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Helena can
yeah,
do it
man.
and
It's
shit.
just, yeah.
But I guess I see what you're saying. But I thought it was kind of neat though that they gave you all these different moves that are pretty cool to do. And it is just a game, so it's like if you're gonna nitpick on that, there's way more things that you can nitpick much harder
Oh, I'm
than
sure I can
that.
find some more.
Like the fucking zombie ass shark that when you're sliding down this water slide with Leon and Helena and a explosive barrel just happens to fly by and you got to shoot it in slow motion. Like Jesus Christ, what are they doing? And like when Derek Simmons turns into a fucking T-Rex, like what the
Yeah, oh my
fuck?
God.
Oh my God, what happened to this series?
Oh, Capcom, what were you
It
thinking?
was
Right.
always crazy from the beginning. Like there's zombie sharks in literally Resident Evil 1. So, it's always been
Yeah, but
like pretty
they're
crazy.
memorable. They're great,
Yeah, it's
you
always been
know?
crazy, but Derek Simmons
And not to
transforming into a
mention he's got this
T-Rex.
fucking yeah, and not to mention Derek Simmons got this very fucking weird obsession with Ada Wong.
Yeah, like he's like they dated for like 5 years and then she broke it off or something. That's the
Yeah,
kind of relation. That's how it feels like,
that's
and
the vibe.
he
Yeah.
wants her back so badly for some reason. But yeah, and also another thing about Derek Simmons is that's just only one of his transformations. He transforms into like fucking 5 different things in the game. He transforms into this like
Hmm.
big like I don't even know what it is, but he's on all fours when he's on the train. He transforms into that big fly thing near the end when you kill him. Like, my God, like I don't know if you remember because you've said you only played it like once all the way through.
I've played it in full one time. I played
So
Leon campaign
you might
about
not
four
remember,
times.
but like they do so many things to Derek Simmons that doesn't kill him. It's just insane. He gets
Yeah.
impaled. He gets shot up a
No, I
million
remember. I remember
times.
thinking like, is this fucking guy ever gonna fucking
He gets
die?
fucking electrocuted with lightning
Isn't this the
rods.
game where like he dies at the end? Like he gets impaled and he bleeds into like the umbrella logo?
I think that's him.
I'm
That
pretty
happens.
sure that is.
Yeah, I think
At
so.
the end of Leon's campaign, I believe he gets
I think
impaled on
so. I
something,
think he doesn't.
and then when
He does get impaled. I just can't remember if it's in if it does the blood into the umbrella logo or not.
I'm pretty
But
sure
I
it
know for
does
sure
like blood into an umbrella
it
logo.
might be. I know for sure he gets impaled though. He falls and he lands right on the spike, like the pointy up thingy.
Yeah,
But yeah, he gets fucked up in this game, but he just keeps coming back. It's crazy. But yeah, he's almost more of a nemesis type character than Ustanak is. Like
yeah.
he takes more punishment than Ustanak does, and they call Ustanak the Diet Nemesis.
I
And
wanted very much to like this game.
oh, so did I. This was actually the first Resident Evil that I ever played that I had to put it down before I finished it. I specifically remember I was in like chapter 4 or 5 of Chris's campaign, and it was just like, this is just too much. Like, so I set it down for a few days and started playing something else. I have never done that with a Resident Evil game before. You know how I am when a new Resident Evil game comes out. I play
You
it
play the fucking shit out of it until you get
until,
every fucking trophy
yeah, and I don't stop.
over the course of a week or two.
Yeah, and I'll play it multiple times in a row. But with RE6, when that
I
first
don't
came
know how
out,
you do that, but you do. Even I can't do that with any game.
but
I can't go back to back to back. I have once I beat it, I got to put it down for a little bit, and then I'll go back to it maybe a week
yeah,
later.
that's
But
understandable.
yeah,
But I just couldn't. Like the game was just too much for me. It was like this is not like at the time I was just like this sucks. This is not good. Like I've grown to like it more every time I played it, but the first time I ever played it, I was just like, man, this is a bummer. Like this truly is like at the time I really thought like this is it. Resident Evil's dead now. It sucks, but
hmm
it's true. And then I know Resident Evil Revelations came out the same year, but I didn't play it till next year. But Revelations gave me a little bit of hope back that the series might still continue on. But it wasn't until RE7 that I truly thought like, okay, the series is back. We're back, baby. We're back at 10 out of 10 territory.
Well, it's funny that you say that because um, I hadn't seen any of the CGI movies at the time whenever I had watched or when I had played six my first time
Hmm.
way back in 2012.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't I didn't like it either, but I didn't think the series to be dead. I just thought, okay, so this is where we're going.
Yeah,
But
I
and
guess I
I
would
just
say the
didn't
same.
like it. It
Yeah,
didn't really stick with me. But it's funny because after having watched all the CGI movies and then revisiting the game last year when I did to weigh it against those movies, I'm like, I loved it a lot more than I remember in the first place
wait,
because
last year,
yeah, last year when I played it, remember I was saying, oh, this is actually not a bad game.
Resident Evil
It's
6? You
it's
played last?
yeah, it's
I didn't
not.
know you played it last year.
Yeah, I played it last year
Oh,
when I got
cool.
it because remember it was on sale for five ninety
Oh, that's
nine on
right. I do
Xbox
remember that. Yeah.
Live,
So we
and I
both played
bought
it
it.
last year.
Yeah, and I played through it, and I was like, remember I was raving. I was saying, I got to bump this game up above Resident Evil Village because at that time it was below Village,
Right.
and then I bumped it up above Village because I was like, it's really not that bad. It's like if you look at it in the lens of what they give us with the Resident Evil movies, the CGI movies, which are beloved by a lot of people in the community.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, then how can you hate on this game? Because it literally is the fucking CGI movies that you can play.
But you can play. Yeah.
So I bumped it up a notch from my initial rating of the game that I will give after you give yours at the end of the show, and I will give my rating of the game, which is a notch above its original rating that I gave it back in
Yeah.
2012. But anyway, you have some notes that you wrote, and you have some stuff about the game and the lore that you want to get
Well,
into.
actually,
I'm gonna let you take the stage, brother.
I
You go
actually
ahead.
don't have
The
don't
mic is all yours.
I don't have any notes, but I'll go off the top of the
What?
head. Yeah. No, I didn't write
Oh,
any
you have
notes.
notes for Revelations out the ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um.
okay.
But
Well,
I'll
I'll
just.
let you take it away because you know a lot about this game more so than I do because you've played it more than I have.
Well,
I'd say, what do you have in this game? About 70 hours, maybe?
RE6. No, I have a couple hundred
Yes.
hours.
Couple hundred. Holy shit.
I
Well,
mean,
then you definitely
it's
know
a
more.
it's a
Yeah.
long ass game. So even though I've beaten it only like 10 to 12 times each playthrough, doing all four campaigns, all 20 chapters, that takes like 40 or 50 hours, takes
Yeah.
quite a long time. So yeah, I do have a couple hundred hours on this game, and I got the platinum for it twice, the PS3 and PS4 version. So yeah, I probably have a good 300 hours on it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll start at the beginning with Leon. Leon's campaign is, like we were saying, is
Excuse me.
I think it's probably the most fun. There's some puzzles that you do with Helena, and that's cool. That's like reminiscent of old school,
Mm.
because most of the rest of the game there aren't really any puzzles. You get some puzzles to do with Helena. There is that one boss where you fight in the church with all the people who's annoying. You know, boss I'm talking about, the one that spews out that gas and it transforms the people into like zombies and shit. And if you get too
Wait,
close to
what
it,
is it again?
it's in the church when you finally make it to the church and they let you
On
inside.
Leon's campaign?
Yeah. And then you open up that one room by doing this, like, by when after you're done doing the puzzles, you open up the one room and this big dude with holes in him comes out, and he'll like spew out this like blue gas, and if you're anywhere near it, you get.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you want to stand clear and like snipe at him and shit, because if you get near him, he'll fuck you up. He's annoying. Um, but honestly, there are actually, like, I like a lot of the enemies in this game, like the big fat zombie guy. Remember
Yeah,
him
okay.
in the beginning of the game, the really big fat zombie. And remember how you run him over with the bus in like chapter
Yeah.
1 or 2? I think it's at the end of chapter 1 of Leon's campaign. You run him over with the bus. I like that enemy because I don't know why. I guess it's because he's a bullet sponge, and you get a lot of ammo in this game, so it's an enemy just to unload on. Because all the regular zombies, you have all this fucking heavy ammo, and you have all these awesome guns and all this ammo, and then it's just a bunch of zombies that die in like one or two shots. Even on the harder skills, they aren't that hard to kill. So the bigger enemies, like the big fat zombie, I really like because they're bullet sponges. But
I really like the ones that kind of like turn into a rock or whatever, or they're kind of like
turn into a
they're like a
rock.
tank. They're like a tank. Or they charge at you.
I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember exactly what they're
Shit.
called. Okay, so you
Um.
encounter them. I can give you a definitive moment. You
Oh,
encounter
I know.
some of
I
them.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you
Those they're
encounter
they're
them.
in Chris's campaign. That you counter them in Chris's
Yeah,
campaign.
you can counter them when you're like on the pontoons and shit, jumping from pontoon to pontoon, and like a couple of them come at you, and then there's a couple more of them
I like
inside of
those
like
guys
one of
too.
the
Yeah,
buildings going.
because I
Yeah,
use the shotgun on them, and grenades too. If you have them, they're really good. I think grenades, anyways. But yeah, those guys are fun to fight too because you always know you're gonna get like a lot of skill points, which are used for upgrading. Which also we haven't touched up on that yet. There's an upgrade system where you can equip 3 abilities, but there's about like 50 different abilities to choose from. I always went with firearm power up, defense up, and I can't remember what the third one I always choose is, but I always choose the standard three. The firearm power up, defense up, and whatever the third one is, I forget. But there's a lot of
yeah,
power ups
and
to
then
choose from.
you can make different lists of like
Yeah,
weapons and tier them out.
yeah,
For like
for
which
different
I never really
situations.
got into like
Neither did
the
I. Yeah,
intricacies of don't I just you know what I mean?
I just set
I
up
guess
one and I'm done, and I
that's all I ever did.
and I use it the
But
same.
maybe that's for people that do it online, or maybe people that do like
Well,
perhaps would do
there
it
are harder
like on
difficulties, and
harder modes. Yeah,
yeah,
harder difficulties.
when the game first came out, the hardest difficulty I believe was professional, and I think you had to beat it on that to get the platinum. I'm pretty sure. But since the PS4 version came out, they added a new difficulty called No Hope. I've actually never tried No Hope difficulty, but I'm sure it's insanely hard because professional, from what I remember, was pretty hard. But
Yeah.
No Hope, I've never played it before on No Hope. Um, I should probably do that next time I play it. Play it on No Hope difficulty. Um, but yeah, another thing is the healing system, where the herbs, where you it's like taking like little tic tacs, like
Yeah.
Like, and then just pop them in your mouth and eat them, and you're good to
Yeah.
go.
Well, I did that makes that to riff on that. I didn't like the inventory, like in game like system. How it got a little bit like cumbersome with like because you had like a grid, and I was like,
Yeah. And also,
you know,
every character had a different color too for their
yeah,
inventory, which was weird, but kind of cool. But I didn't mind the inventory system too much. You had a limited number of space, so if you had like too many bullets or something, and then you wouldn't be able to pick up this grenade or whatever. Or if you had too many grenades and too much ammo, you couldn't pick up any more herbs. So you did have some inventory management there going on. So
yeah,
I didn't mind it too much, but usually you were pretty like if you're playing on anything lower than professional, you're pretty good. You'll have enough ammo for every weapon, and you'll have enough like herbs and shit. But
yeah.
one thing you can do that I found out,
I mean, the ammo drops are plentiful, honestly, especially
yeah,
in lower difficulty settings.
yeah, they sure are. One thing you can do though, which is kind of funny, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like if you reach I can't remember if it's a checkpoint or a save point or whatever. If you're down to like low health, you can just die on purpose and you get your health back for free.
Really?
I'm pretty sure anyways. I can't remember if it's a checkpoint or like a save point or something, but I always use that exploit whenever I play it.
Okay. I
Because
never really. I've only ever played it, like I said,
the
once, and I didn't play
like
it on a hard enough difficulty to really die
the only problem with that
like
is
that.
if you're worried about going for medals, you're not going to get the medal for having no deaths. But
Yeah,
as long as you don't care about that, then just go ahead and die, and you'll get your health back.
yeah.
It's kind of funny. I don't know if it's like that
Is
on
that a
higher.
prerequisite to get the platinum? Is like getting all the medals?
Dude, it's been so long since I got the
Don't
platinum.
remember.
I don't
That's okay.
remember.
That's all right.
I don't remember what the trophies were for that game. Because even the PS4 version like that, even that was
Yeah.
like a decade ago. Like, because the PS4 version came out only a couple of years after the PS3 version, like in 2014 or 2015 or something, I think. So it's been quite a long time since I got the trophies for that game. I actually don't have all the trophies for RE6. I have all the trophies for the Platinum, but there's some DLC trophies for online modes, and since nobody plays online, it's like impossible to get those trophies. Just like RE5. Remember you were helping
Yeah.
me boost those online trophies?
Yeah, we really didn't talk about that much in the last episode. I mean, I when I listened back to it, you were talking about it, and I like kind of just like one in one ear out the other because I was just not wanting to talk about blowing up and losing my fucking shit on these guys that were fucking like they were literally scraping us the whole fucking game, and I'm like,
Oh
oh
yeah, yeah. It's surprising to me that there's still like hardcore dedicated RE5 fans playing online like daily. Like that just like I know that this is RE5 and this is an RE6 video, not an RE5 video. But to talk about
that's all right.
but to talk about RE5 for just a second, it is surprising that there's so many people still playing online, like expert that play like
It's a
every
good
week.
game.
Yeah, like
It's a good game.
that's a testament to how much people like RE5 right there.
Yep.
Um,
But
but
uh
anyways, back to
diving
RE6.
back to RE6, let's get into a little bit of the campaigns, the different campaigns, and the
Yeah.
new characters that are introduced. We have a new virus. Do you remember what the C virus stands for?
I
Because I've got
forget.
Siri
I,
ready to ask.
I
All
forgot.
right,
I always called it
we're go-
the cocoon virus, but I know that's not what
we're
it
gonna
is.
we're gonna ask Siri
It's
now
like
that I have a wrist computer.
it's like
I can't remember because
cerebellum.
I no, I think I said it. I think I said it was the Chimera virus,
You
and
did
I
say
for
that.
some reason I want to say that's one, or maybe it could be the chrysalid virus.
I
It's
think
one of
that's what
those
it is.
two.
I think.
But let's find out what it stands for. Hey Siri. Hey Siri.
Hi there.
What does the C virus stand for in Resident Evil 6?
The C virus was introduced in Resident Evil 6 as a follow-up to the
The C virus was introduced in Resident Evil 6 as a follow-up to the Umbrella Corporation's T virus. Yeah, but what was it called, Siri?
to turn regular civilians into the Horde hordes of undead featured in many of its early titles, but the C virus was made by the family following Umbrella's shutdown, hoping to continue the corporation's legacy.
I'm pretty sure
Hey
it's
Siri,
I'm pretty sure it's Crystal
what
something.
was the C virus? What did it stand for in Resident Evil 6?
Here's an answer from Cameron.
Okay, it's not going to give it to
The
me.
cock
Anyway.
I think you're right. It's like crystal. What was the word
So
you
it's
said?
it's
Crystal?
either chrysalid or it's
Yeah, I think
chimera.
that's what
I
it
can't
is. But it doesn't even really matter. Like I always called it. I always thought of it as the cocoon virus because they like Ada
because they
literally.
wrap up in a cocoon
Yeah, so it
once you
kind of makes
give them
sense.
damage.
But that's not what it is
But
though.
that would be the chrysalid part of it, though.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But whatever. Who cares? It could be fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs virus. That's what it stands for. Like, who cares? They make so many viruses now, who can keep up with them. You know, when are they gonna make a virus that doesn't like we have T virus, G virus, C, B, A? Like, when are they gonna do like a virus? You know, not something that rhymes with B or C or D. You know what I mean? Like
Z
or Z.
or Z. Yeah.
Oh, the Z virus, the zombie virus. But do you know what I mean? When are they gonna make a virus that's?
Well, nothing's ever going to be as iconic as the T virus
Well,
for
of
me,
course
or
not.
the G virus.
Yeah,
I do like to go
those
about
are
the virus,
definitely the two most
but
iconic, obviously.
I mean, it's like they give us a different letter of the alphabet, like they're just trying to give you something new.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't
When are
know
they
why
gonna?
the game series didn't just stick with the fucking T and G virus and just keep okay, so I've said this before. You want to get Resident Evil back on track to its roots of horror? Give us zombies back. It's as simple as that. The T virus. Bring it fucking back.
Well, I liked what they did with RE7. They didn't even do like a virus. It was just molded. It was the mold,
Yeah,
which
but there are
was the
people who are
virus, I
not
guess.
very
But
there are those who are not even happy with that. I think it's just
of
fine.
course, but a lot of people loved it though. Like, of
Yeah.
course, not everybody did, but it was obviously a huge success. You go on Twitch right now, and you'll see thousands of people watching people play it right now. Like,
Yeah.
if you go and look in RE1, there's not going to be that many people watching that. Like RE7 is popular. It's up there as one of the highest selling Resident Evil games, and there's a reason for that. But yeah, I like that they went in a different direction and didn't just make another like virus like.
Okay.
You know,
That's I can respect that.
the PP virus. But yeah,
Any
I don't know. But yeah, bringing zombies
so
back would be dope
the
though.
new the new virus in this one is isn't this something that is tied to Ada Wong?
What, the new virus? It's
Yeah.
tied to fake Ada, I think.
Fake Ada.
I don't know. I think so. Like
I don't
it's
really
tied to
remember
her. It's
like
tied to Simmons. It's tied to all of them.
in Resident Evil lore, I think that the C virus was created by Carla Radams as a means to clone Ada Wong.
Yeah, I don't remember
But
because that game, like, it just didn't do it for me, man. It just didn't
I
do it
get
for
it. I
me,
get
so
it.
I can't
That's why
remember.
I have questions too. Anyway, so let's just move on. We're introduced to some new characters at the time. Wesker's son, Jake, is one of them that we spoke of.
I actually like it.
Helena, I think it's Helena Harper is another one.
I'm not a fan of her.
Not a fan of her?
No, because
Okay.
she tells Leon, "I'll tell you all about it when we get a little bit later, when we get to church," and then she keeps telling Leon like, "I'll explain everything later, I promise." And then they get to the church, and then Leon's like, "Enough of this shit, tell me." And she's like, "I promise, I'll explain later." And it's like, "Fuck you, bitch! Just fucking explain it to him. It's not that complex." She pissed me off so hard in chapter 1 of the game. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, obviously, but she's not my favorite character. She's probably my least
Well,
favorite
one of
character in the game.
all right. So two of the most important new characters introduced to this game. They're both one and dones, but one of them's one and done because he dies.
Yes.
Who is my personal favorite out of the new characters that
Oh,
are
really?
Yeah, I liked Piers a lot. I liked Wesker's
I like
son a
him.
lot too.
Yeah.
I like Jake and Piers the most, other than Leon. I wish that they would have did something more with Wesker's son instead of, hey, here's Wesker's fucking illegitimate bastard son. Oh, later on, I mean, what did he do? He was a mercenary, and what did he say at the end of the game?
Well,
Oh,
he had the
you could just give me $50 or whatever for the
50 mil. If
yeah, 50
he'll
instead of
bring
50
it.
mil. So
Yeah, but he had like
so
the blood in him or whatever that for the
yeah.
cure or
So it's like
whatever
he got his fucking $50 or whatever he said. Oh, I'll take, and he just
because he
kind of
became
he
because he
kind of
became
fucked
an
off
yeah
after that game.
because Sherry rubbed off on him and he became a good guy instead of
Yeah.
like a dickhead.
Well,
But I thought he was a
that's what
decent
Resident
character.
Evil does with these games.
But
Though they did it with Billy.
they
He
literally
kind of just fucked off at the end of Zero.
yeah
One and done. That's what
they
they're known for.
they literally made Jake as an equal to Sherry because they're both think about it, they're both the offspring of the first two major antagonists of the Resident Evil games. Jake's
Yeah.
the son of Wesker, who was like the main bad guy of
I never
RE1,
put that one and one together.
and
Wesker,
Sherry's the
yeah,
daughter of the main bad guy,
of
Birkin of
Birkin, yeah.
RE2. Yeah,
And they were kind of partners working together, like during
yeah,
Resident Evil
yeah.
Zero and before them
And
events.
now we have their
And then now their
children.
kids are working. Oh
But
man, that actually makes it like that makes you
that's literally
appreciate
why
that part of the lore a little bit more.
yeah,
That's really cool.
that's literally why they made Jake. It's for that reason, so
Yeah,
they could do that.
that's really cool.
Yeah,
I like Jake. I liked him, and I liked his I liked him in this game, and I liked Piers. Now, I wish that they would have, like I said, done a little bit more with Jake afterwards. Maybe even tied him in with Alex Wesker in
yeah.
Revelation somehow or
They could
something.
definitely bring Jake back in a future Resident Evil
Yeah,
game. Maybe RE9. Maybe he'll come back in
maybe.
RE9. Who knows? Probably
Who
not.
knows?
Probably not. But you never know. But
Well, I'm surprised that they set him up to be like a good guy instead of like, oh, well, this is like Wesker, Wesker Jr. or whatever.
yeah,
He could have very much been like an antagonist for the series, but they went with that route. It was kind of a twist. They kind of, like I said, they had the conflict. It's like like Chris was trying to make a conflict there,
yeah. It kind of was.
but it was
And
going on within himself.
And
Yeah,
Piers was always mouthing off to him because
yeah, yeah.
whenever Jake would talk back, Piers was like, he can't get away with this
No,
type
that's
of
what it was.
attitude.
Piers was trying to make the conflict, and then
And then Chris would be like,
Chris was the apologist.
yeah,
And it's
Chris
like, what
would
the
be
fuck
like,
are you apologizing? Yeah.
stand back, I'll handle this.
You know what? One of the moments that kind of like made me chuckle because like we got this new character. Nobody has ever seen Jake Mueller before, who's Wesker's son.
Yeah.
And I remember the moment when they're in China and they're getting ready to fight the Usanak, and then Sherry runs into Leon for the first time. Yeah, and then he tries to get lippy with Leon, and I'm thinking, man, shut the fuck up, homeboy, before you get drop kicked in the mouth.
And you know what's funny about
like,
that?
This dude will fucking Leon will wreck you, dude.
It's funny because he gets mouthy, he gets like pissy with Leon, but then Sherry's like, don't, he's a good guy. He saved my life back in Raccoon City. And then Jake looks at him and does the cliche look like, I approve of you now. Now that Sherry, like, it's so stupid and cliche,
Yeah.
but like he looks at him and he's like he doesn't nod as hard as I'm doing it, but he does like a slight little nod, like, all right,
Yeah.
you're cool with me now.
Yeah.
Now that Sherry told me that you saved her life. But I always thought that was kind of funny and kind of cringy at the same time. And then Usanak interrupts, and then you have a 4-on-1 with Leon and Helena. And what's funny about that is that Helena partners with Jake and Leon partners with Sherry for a moment during that battle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool, switching up partners. Leon and Helena makes sense, but Leon and Sherry makes sense, but Jake and Helena, that's kind of a weird.
Because we don't know nothing about them prior to this game.
Yeah,
so,
but Leon and Sherry were obviously.
I think it was just a moment so they could have a moment of Leon and
exactly
and Sherry together for old time's sake.
Yeah,
so,
And then yeah,
Capcom knows what the fans want. I mean, for the most part.
We haven't even talked
now
about the Chris
executing it is what's questionable.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the Chris Leon fight yet. But we don't even really need to talk about that. Like
that's actually my favorite moment of the whole fucking game.
That's what I'm gonna say. That's a lot of people's favorite moments. It's like the most iconic moment in the whole game. So like everybody already knows.
It's the only reason why I would buy this game again is just to see that
that moment.
Well,
they show it to you multiple times because they show it to you in Leon's campaign and they show it to you in Chris's campaign. So, but yeah,
you get it.
It's a dope fight, obviously.
You get it from both perspectives. But
if that fight, let me ask you something. If that fight would have kept going, if they wouldn't have stopped fighting and they would have fought to the death, who do you think would have won, Leon or Chris?
Jesus, that's a good question.
Oh no,
it's a real good question.
It would have been close.
I love my boy Leon, man.
But you think Chris would have taken it?
I think Chris might have taken him. Dude.
Oh shit! Really?
Dude, he punches fucking boulders, dog.
Yeah, that's true. You got me there. Chris does Leon does roundhouse kicks, but you can't top boulder punching.
Yeah, let's see Leon roundhouse kick a boulder, bro.
Yeah, maybe he can. Who knows?
No, he can dodge him.
I think Leon's got the speed a little bit, but when you can punch boulders, I think there's nothing else to be said.
I hate to say that because Chris is definitely not above Leon on my tier list of loved characters. As a matter of fact,
with me.
I'm going to give an official statement right here, right now.
Oh shit!
Chris is my second favorite character, right behind Leon.
Is he really?
Absolutely, he is. Well, okay, so Honk. All right. Honk and Leon are tied. We're talking mainline characters.
Gotcha.
Because Honk's a side character. Honk's my most favorite character, honestly, of all of them, because he's just a bad fucking dude.
Yeah, because he's just a fucking badass.
Leon, they're all bad dudes, but Honk's a special kind of badass.
Yeah.
All right. But so he's in a tier on his own.
Right.
So, all right. So with that being said, Leon and Chris. And then Chris. And then probably Jill.
I was just about to say, who's your favorite? Who do you think the most badass female? I would go Jill.
Oh, who's the most badass female? No, fucking Ada Wong.
Ada or Jill. But I was thinking more like I was thinking of like good guys. Ada is good, but also kind of bad.
Yeah, she's an anti-hero, but that's why I like her.
Yeah, but I love me some Jill. She's in my favorite Resident Evil game of all time.
Days, like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but especially these days, especially with like separate ways in Resident Evil 4 remake, the way that they made her like she doesn't really want to. Okay, so she does what she has to do to get paid and for her job, even though they've made it very clear that it's begrudgingly. She doesn't enjoy.
They made it very clear in the hardcore remake that she's more of a good guy than an anti-hero, and I like that.
Well, yeah, I like that. I like it. I like it.
Let me say one more thing about Jill.
Sure.
To prove how much of a badass she is, RE3 original and remake. She's the only Stars person who stood up against Nemesis and came out of it alive. She took down Nemesis. Jill? Yeah. That's all I need to say. She's a badass. Claire didn't do it. Chris didn't do it.
You want stars? I'll give you stars, motherfucker.
Yeah. She took down Nemesis, the most badass fucking monster ever created. She took down Nemesis. So, point Jill right there for all the Jill fans out there. I love Jill to death. RE3 Jill specifically is my favorite.
Getting back to the fight that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Chris and Leon were having their showdown, now did either one of them know that I think her name's Carla Radam was who the character? Did they know that was not? They both thought it was
Ada. They both thought it was real Ada.
They both thought it was Ada.
That's why Leon was Leon was defending her, and Chris was going after her because Carla just killed all his men, but he thinks that it's Ada.
Yeah,
even though it actually was Carla. So Chris was actually
and then
in the right there.
She dies, and then that's whenever he has to tell her like, "Oh, Ada's dead."
Well, Carla gets shot, and then that's when he radios Leon. Ada Wong is dead. but even though Ada Wong's actually still alive because it was Carla that
Right.
got shot.
Because they didn't know that she
And
was.
speaking of that goes into Ada's campaign. You actually
Yeah.
fight.
All right.
You fight this
I don't
weird.
remember much of her campaign,
It's
but was she
weird.
captured? Was she captured or held hostage at the beginning of her campaign or something? I don't really remember much.
I can't remember. I think she was like on this boat or whatever. She had to
She
go.
has to escape.
Yeah, and it was such a weird thing. Like she had to answer questions about herself to get through like this thing. It was so weird. But
Yeah.
but the final boss, or like close to the final boss, was Ada fighting Carla. Except Carla at this point had transformed into this white gooey monster. But it really does look like it. It looks like just a big. Like it reminds me of the Evil Within 2. I don't know if you never played that though. There's also a monster in that game that's just a big white blob of like gooey, nasty looking like glue
Stuff. Yeah, goo.
sticky. I don't want to say
Yeah.
the nasty stuff.
Yeah,
But,
I got
so
you.
I'll just say glue. It looks like white sticky stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, both Evil Within 2 and Resident Evil 6, Carla turn into a big pile of like white nasty goo, and it's weird. And I can't remember exactly how she finishes her off. I forget, even though I just played it last year.
Jeez.
That's my poor memory for you. Hey, you played it too, so I don't hear nothing.
Are you sure you don't smoke cannabis?
No, I don't. I just
Okay.
I feel like I have a selective memory where like I don't
Yeah.
like that wasn't even worth remembering for me because like it's like I don't even care. Who cares? She beat Carla. Great, yay. Well, you know, like Carla was a nobody character to me. I didn't really care about her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, she's another character that's a one and done, just like fucking every single other character just about that kind of just comes along and then screws off into the sunset.
And on top of that, she's literally just a copy of Ada, so it's like
she dies.
Yeah.
Carla dies.
Yeah.
So you know,
sure.
not very often does somebody. Well, not very. It's not very often. Well, she's an antagonist, but it's not very often that a protagonist gets killed off, which segues into what I want to talk about now. Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce went out like a
What
hero.
a fucking good death.
Yeah.
What a good death.
I think so
what
too.
A good fucking death. What a good way to wrap up.
And what's cool is
campaign.
he didn't die right away. He lost his arm. He got his right. I think it was his right arm just got completely just crushed and destroyed. And then so he could still help out, didn't he? He took the virus himself so he could get powers to help out Chris. So so the person playing as Pierce actually got to use like power. Do you remember that or not?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I do.
You actually get to use he shoots out like electricity beams or bolts or whatever.
I remember that fucking scene specifically because all right. I love Leon's campaign because of the survival horror elements, and I love the showdown. Those are two of my most favorite reasons for this game. But the only other thing that stands out for me is Chris's campaigin.
There's a lot of action,
particularly the end. A lot of great fucking action.
Oh my god! I just thought of something.
In particular, the ending.
Yeah.
Where you got to go down into the submarine or whatever, down into and you got that big giant fucking monster that's about ready to surface, and he's got his and he sacrifices himself, and he starts turning into like whatever he turns into. He's shooting electricity out.
Yeah.
And, like that really stuck with me. Like all of it, because he's got like not just an arm fucking ripped off or whatever, like half of his face is melted off and missing an eye, and he's just all fucked up. There's no going back.
Yeah, so
and he knows he's dying.
He pushes Captain in and saves him, shuts the door on him, and then Chris is like, "No, god damn it, no!" And then the last thing he does is save Chris Redfield's life.
Yeah,
but before
you were going to say something.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say before I forget, the rocket launchers in this game. My god. You get shot so many times, especially in Chris's campaign by rockets, and they shoot like right at you and they barely do any damage, and it's so funny to me. And at one point in Jake's campaign, from what I remember anyways, a rocket actually you're supposed to jump from one chopper to the another because you're fighting the Ustanak. And at one point, I think it's Jake who does the jump, and he gets hit by like an explosion or a rocket nearby, and it actually helps him make the jump. So the rockets in the game are actually helping the characters out. It's like, do the creators not know how powerful rockets are? Like, those motherfuckers should be dead.
All the splash damage,
But I can't say nothing because RE3 original has Nemesis using a rocket launcher on Jill, and she survives.
But I was also going to say, Resident Evil 2 remake, you can literally launch a fucking rocket right at your feet, and Leon just flinches.
It's just a game. It's all for fun. It's just that in RE6, it feels more real because it looks more realistic. When you do it in RE2 original or RE3 original, it doesn't feel as real and stuff because it's like, PS1 graphics. And in RE2 remake, it's you shooting the rocket, not someone shooting it at you. So, but RE6, it's like very realistic looking, and you're getting rockets shot at you left and right, and and you fly from the explosion, but then they're just A-okay. And it's so funny to me that it happens so many times. Also, Chris and Piers play in the park. Do you remember that?
What?
If you find, it's like a kids park. You can go on the swing set and or maybe not the swing set. You can play on the slide. You can have Chris and Piers go down the slide.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you go to it, then you get a prompt. There's also like these little animals that you ride, and you can ride the animals with Chris and Piers. It's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. I don't think you can do it with any other characters, just Chris and Piers. Because I believe Ada comes.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Look it up. Look it up when we're done with this.
Well, yeah, I'd say I'll have to hopefully they put it on Xbox where you can stream like your library, and if they do, I'll play that. I doubt they will because it's a fucking 360 game, right? But either way,
yeah, I always thought that was hilarious.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's a nice little tidbit. Here's a little piece of information.
Mm-hmm.
A little fun fact, rather. Leon's sense of style just ever evolves throughout this series, and I thought he looked his best
in RE6
in this game. Yes, like his best, like dress wise, like what he wears. Even he looked his best in RE4 as far as like the brown jacket, but he looked his best in civilian type clothes, not like military, like tactical garb. But like he looked fucking great, and like his jacket was great. This is what made me, because I like to ride motorcycles. This is how I would dress. I would want to look like Leon when I would ride bikes. You know what I'm saying? He's got nice hair, and I'm bald.
That's what I was just about to say. I was about to mention his hair. Leon's still rocking that '90s haircut. And he's like 40.
Oh, forever.
He's like 40 years old now.
All right, let's say he's in Resident Evil 9. Do you think he's still going to be rocking that haircut?
Probably.
I think he will
probably.
be. Well, of course he will be. Absolutely he will be.
And he's going to be like 50-something years old.
I think he's going to have a beard. I think he would look good with a beard and that long hair.
Ooh, a beard? Bearded Leon. Oh, shit.
Bearded Leon.
I didn't even think about that.
Would that be nice?
It depends. Man, are you talking about Leon hair with the beard? That's gonna look a little weird, I think, actually.
Nah, hell no. No, not like a big fucking Santa Claus.
No, of course not. Like stubblish kind of beard.
Yeah, but like a stubbly beard, like mine, kind of like mine. Yeah.
All right. I
think it would look cool.
I just think it's funny that he's still rocking that '90s haircut because
always
it looks good. And
that's funny because that's the one thing about Leon I hated when he first was introduced to us.
Really?
I think I've said it a couple times. Yeah, I was not impressed with him, and I'm like, this guy looks like a fucking beach bum, like a surfer dude. Like, no, he ain't doing it for me. Now I love him.
Yeah, he's the best.
Now I love him. Yeah, I mean, they've kind of made his hair a little bit more.
You know what they should do is just
shave. They made it a little bit more emo-ish, and for the remake,
they should just shave his head, have him be bald, and RE9.
It's kind of it's a little bit more bushy and emo looking, but he's still nice, I still love you.
Shave his head. He's gonna go bald in RE9.
Oh hell no, dude! I'll boycott. I'll boycott Capcom over that. Don't fuck with my Leon.
Shave Chris and Leon completely. Have them both be bald.
Yeah, but they kind of already do. Well, dude, Chris never consistently looks the same. It's like he's like the James Bond of the fucking
that is true.
Of the series. He's got a different actor playing him every fucking game.
Yeah, I feel like the most similar he ever looked was RE5 and RE8 Chris kind of look similar. Like obviously RE8 Chris looks older, but he should look older because it's many years
I
later.
mean, yeah, kind of. But you know what?
Oh, and Revelations Chris, RE5 and Revelations Chris kind of look similar.
I like Chris the way he was in Resident Evil 1.
Oh, of course, the
That
very original.
you know the remake in particular.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean Chris is
So
great, and I like all versions of Chris, but RE1 goofy ass Chris is obviously the best
yeah.
with his
So speaking of
goofy.
Chris, I need a Chris statue to put over here with my
With
Leons.
his goof.
I don't have one, and I got to get me one. Like I said, I've grown in an appreciation for Chris more than I used to have. Especially after having my conversation with Addie
Yeah,
a few episodes back.
where
She
you
really
where
like
you like RE8 Chris now when I've been
no
saying it
no
forever
not
that
no
R
not R no
you
not
didn't listen to
RE8
me.
Chris. Not RE8 Chris in general.
I got you.
Like
I got you. I was
I
just fucking with
didn't
you.
appreciate his I didn't appreciate like his lore.
Chris,
Like I never looked at him like in the light of
dude.
like the guy that like goes against the narrative, you know what I'm saying, or like the story or the lies of them, you know, like and like okay, so here's a good example. Resident Evil 1.5, they have a scene at the beginning of the game where they show Chris like screaming at Chief Irons.
Really?
Okay,
I don't.
I know you probably never played it, but at
No.
the beginning of the game, there's a cut scene like the intro scenes that they showed are like still like static images. There's a static image of Chris screaming and yelling at Chief Irons with Jill and you know like some of the other crew, and demanding what the story they're telling is that he's demanding them to investigate the fucking Spencer Mansion incident
Of course.
and to look into Umbrella. And Chief Iron, since he's in the fucking pocket of Umbrella, is like, no, no, no. So Chris is like, I'm gonna go do this on my own then. So he fucks off to Europe to fucking try to figure out what Umbrella's up to and to
Yeah.
get the dirt on him. I never really looked at it in that light, you know, like this dude defies corrupt authority, and I love that about him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
so that's what I'm talking about. It has
I
nothing
got
to
you.
do with Resident Evil 8. I do like him
RE8 Chris is.
using the idea of him using Ethan as bait to bring out Mother Miranda. That's pretty fucking intelligent and
Yeah.
pretty clever. That's pretty clever.
Yeah.
So
Um,
anyway,
I just realized something. We were trying to compare like how Chris looks different in every game when we're staring RE6 right in the face. RE6 Chris looks a lot like RE5 Chris.
well, yeah, this is the era, the Roger Craig Smith era
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
Resident Evil. He did
Sonic the
consistently look
Hedgehog
at,
Chris.
yeah. He I don't know if he voiced him in RE6. I don't
I
if he
don't
did,
know.
cool. I don't know. I don't know all those facts. Somebody out there does, not me. I'm sure somebody's listening like,
I think
yeah,
he
no,
did.
it wasn't him. You fucking idiots. No, but seriously.
I think he did, but
Um,
I might be
I
wrong.
think he did though. I'm not sure. Um, what was I saying? Oh, RE5, RE6, and RE Revelations. He
He looks pretty.
relatively had the same look.
Yeah, yeah. And then
They
RE7,
didn't
they
change
fucked him
it
up.
until 7.
Yeah,
Yeah, RE7 they fucked him
they
up.
fucked him. As much as I love RE7, they fucked him up big time. They,
I mean, he
I
looked
feel
like
they
fucking.
tried to. I think
He
they
looked
were
like
trying to make him look more like old school, like Code Veronica Chris or something.
probably, but older. But they were trying to make him. They were
Thinner,
trying to
thinner,
make
like
him have a mystery of like, okay, so what Chris is this? Is this Redfield? Is this even really Chris Redfield?
yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah,
think that's what they were going for,
yeah,
and
of
it just
course.
kind of like really came
They were
off like
trying to
really
make it a
bad.
mystery, so
A mystery,
they
yeah.
made him look a little weird,
Some people think he looked like Hunk.
and he referred to himself as Redfield instead of Chris Redfield or Chris.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I RE8 Chris is definitely like in my top two favorite Chris's. Top three, top two. Like I love RE8 Chris. Um, I really like Chris in RE6 though. I really do. As much as that game is my least favorite, like I like Chris in
Yeah.
that game.
I like him in this game too, and his campaign's my second favorite campaign.
Sorry, I'm just
It
putting
You're fine. It's got the most action in it, out of
Yeah,
all of them, arguably.
which is why I
But
think it's sold so much. Because like, like okay, there are fans out there that love RE5 and 6 the most because they
mhm.
like the action.
Well, they
Like,
grew up on it too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they won't play like 1, 2, or 3. They won't play 7 and 8. They only want to play like 5 and 6. They think
Yeah,
they're
because
like
that's
they're
probably like their entryway into the series, and they're like, well, what the fuck are these hand controls and da da da.
yeah,
So I
exactly.
get it.
Like it makes sense, but for people who have been with RE since the beginning, those are the people that are like that think RE5 and 6 are two of the worst
Yeah,
because that's not how RE was, and for the longest time it was more survival horror than anything. Sorry, I had my camera off. I was putting Orajel on my teeth, on my tooth because
oh,
it really
that's all right.
hurts, and I didn't want
Yeah,
to do
that
it on
sucks.
camera.
I hope you feel better, man. Toothaches suck, dude. They're the worst.
Yeah, I think it's just
Um,
hurting so much because I'm sick right now. I think my immune
yeah,
system is like really weak right now.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Uh, there, his campaign, Chris's campaign, was probably arguably the most action packed. I don't remember if this was part of his campaign, but I remember it being in the game. I think it was like Estonia, the Civil War. Did you play as Chris during that, or was that like part of Jake and Sherry's campaign, or both of them?
I think both well, remember those big giant dudes they had to fight?
Yeah, dude.
They
Yeah.
both Jake and Chris took part of that.
Okay. So
And that's where we
I
got
think you
some
played in that.
yeah, that's where we got some
I think you
tears.
played out as Chris. That's one of my most favorite
I
sections
do like that
of
section.
Chris's. Is during that Civil War. It's pretty fucking cool and fighting them big giant monsters,
Yeah,
man.
I do like that
That
part.
was real fun.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
fun. With a lot of smaller enemies. What are they called again? Dwavo?
Yeah,
A
Juavo.
lot of them running around while you're trying to take out the big dudes, and then a second
Hmm.
big dude
Yeah,
comes.
you do play as Chris because there comes a section where you're like on a bridge and like Piers or him has to
Yeah,
blow it up or
yeah,
something.
yep, yep.
Yeah. That's a very good. That's a very good part.
And then
I
after
actually think I
so,
like that a little bit better than the shit in China because I remember being really frustrated whenever you're like trying to shoot down the fucking helicopter and shit, and it's like lighting you up and like
oh yeah,
yeah, that shit really was frustrating, especially if you're
are you
playing it on professional
are you talking about the
or
part where Chris mans the helicopter and Piers has to get down on the ship or whatever? And
no,
if you're
this
not
is like
talking
here.
about that part, there is a part that you have to do that where Chris takes control and you're flying like the chopper, and Piers has to
No,
hop off and get.
you're like outside of a and like you're get there's like an ambush of these Juavo and like Chris has met his team like are like fighting them off and like I have the memory of like a helicopter being up there shooting at you and you have to kind of shoot it down with like a rocket or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that part.
Jake and Sherry are there with you too at that part also.
Yeah, Jake and Sherry are there as
They're like
well.
down below though, and Chris and Piers are up
Yeah,
above.
dude, that's
Yeah,
the part. Now I don't
yeah.
know if that was specific to Chris or if it was part of both their campaigns that you could play.
Yeah,
I feel like it
that's where
is.
you get the
Yeah.
grenade launcher and you start grenading
Yeah.
the
Yeah, dude.
the grenade
Yeah, that shit was
launcher,
frustrating.
dude. The grenade launcher in
Cuz
RE6 is
I kind of couldn't
fucking
figure out where to go. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Cuz it's, yeah.
But the grenade launcher in RE6 is fucking mwah. I love the grenade launcher in RE6. It's so good.
Absolutely. Well, the grenade launcher in all the games are like mwah,
Yeah, I guess
you
that's
know.
true, but RE6, like, I don't know, I just really like it. I guess
Cuz the red tip grenade launcher in RE4 though, I mean, come on.
yeah.
you know?
You know that one section too in Jake's campaign where you got to find those coins? You're in this like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to find those coins. I kind of like that section of the game too. It was kind of interesting. Um,
That's like when they're in the snow and shit, right?
it's after that. You're in a build.
After that, okay.
You're in a building, and it's like a really fancy building, and you have to go around finding these special coins to unlock this like fuck, I can't even remember now, like a gate or whatever. And I think you don't have to find all of them though, but if you do find all of them, you get like a little extra reward. I think an extra gun or
Nice.
something. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like this section because it's fun going around the whole place trying to find them where they're at. There's a couple of them that are really well hidden, but most of them are pretty easy to find. Uh, it's a pretty fun section. Uh, But anyways, I don't know how much longer you want to keep going, but before, I don't know if you're getting close to wanting to
I don't
stop
know.
or
Do you
not.
have anything else that you want to like add to the
I want
anything we might have missed?
for one thing, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Ada's and but
Go ahead.
not even specifically Ada's, but I wanted to rank like if you had to rank from best to worst.
All the campaigns.
Yeah, what would you do it as?
You okay? Oh well, shit. You put me kind of on the gun under
All
the
right,
gun
I'll
here.
go first
All right.
then.
No. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I think Leon's is probably the best. I think we can both like agree.
Absolutely.
Leon's the best. It's
I think I've established Leon and Chris are my two favorites. So right off the rip.
yeah, it's really tough for me for number two, honestly, because I like both Chris and Jake's, but I think
Mm-hmm.
oh god. And I actually oh
And for
no.
the record, I like to play as Sherry when I play there. When I played the
Yeah.
campaign.
I think
So
I think I oh man, I think I might choose Chris or sorry, Jake as second. And then Chris
really,
third and then Ada last because Ada is just a rehash.
really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Ada's just a
Well,
rehash of a bunch of other crap you've already seen and stuff because like a lot of the Leon stuff you see again when you play as Ada. Plus she's on her own. Well, until they added in that agent or whatever, but the agent's
didn't
not
you say
canon.
something? Was it during the pre-record you were talking about a non-canon character? I don't know if
That's what I
we
just
brought
said.
that up
Yeah.
during. Oh, okay.
The agent
I'm sorry.
she gets an agent partner if you play two
That's what I
players,
thought.
but it's not
I wasn't.
canon. Like
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's what you were talking about or not because
yeah,
like I don't really remember this
he
character,
doesn't appear in
and
any
I
cutscenes or
didn't know
anything.
that they added him post
Yeah.
production. So that's
The
that's
one
a
thing I
wild
do love
fact.
about Ada though is her bow and arrow. When you know how you can quick shoot in the game with any gun, you could do a quick shoot.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
quick shoot with her bow and arrow is fucking
It's
kill.
pretty fucking useful
It's
actually.
insanely good. That was
Yeah.
the only thing that almost made me bump her up to like third favorite campaign, but I still have to put her at the worst because it's just I don't know. Her campaign is just I don't know. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't care for the Carla stuff. I don't care for the beginning section with the boat.
I mean, it feels
I
like the
don't
game was kind of just wrapped up with Derek Simmons after the first campaign for me,
yeah,
honestly.
like the other
You know?
three, it felt like they tacked on Ada just to have more gameplay. But
Hmm.
in reality, the story's all pretty much already wrapped up by the time you get to Ada's and you've done the other three. At least that's
Yeah.
how I feel about it. But so yeah, my ranking would be Leon's my favorite campaign,
Hmm.
then Jake's, then Chris's, and then Ada last for sure. Um,
I think I'm gonna have to get with Leon for number one.
of course.
The Leon and Helena, absolutely, because it's fucking Leon, and it's the most survival horror feeling of all the campaigns.
Yeah.
And then I'll get with Chris for sure because hey, it's Chris, and
Yeah.
you've come to expect action with him,
Yeah.
and I like that. Jake and Sherry are the third naturally. It's not something that I would have no problem playing the first two as Leon and Chris over and over again. But once I get into Jake and Sherry, then I'm just like, I can only play it every
That's
now and again.
understandable. And I was about to
And
say,
then
oh sorry, go on.
eight is the final. Eight is the final.
Yeah, of course.
And I've only done it once, so yeah, there you have it.
Honestly, for me, like Jake and Chris could be interchangeable. They're basically tied for me. Like I like them both pretty equally, but if I
Hmm.
had to pick one, I think I'd choose Jake just because it's interesting having a new character to play as, uh, who's actually a pretty cool character, and seeing Cherry again. But then again, Chris has peers with him, so that's interesting. Also, it's close between those two for me. But yeah, the one thing I do know is Leon's my favorite and Ada's is my least favorite. So
I could say that there was a scene in Leon's campaign. It was in specific the interaction with Helena and her sister that you had to kill in that boss
yeah,
fight,
I hate
and
that
then her
fight.
breaking down. Yeah, I get it, but I think that was a very kind of like a gut punch moment. Like her sister's fucking gone and dead, and
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
and yeah, and she was all fucked up over it, dude. I kind of like I thought that was really well acted and really well done. So
Yeah,
kudos to the screen to the script writer on that one and the actors and actresses for pulling that off. So
yeah, of course.
who did the voice for Leon in this? It was Matt Mercier.
Was it him in R6? I think it was.
I think so.
Matt
It was
Mercer.
the guy that was in the CGI movies in Degeneration.
Matt Mercer, right?
Matt is I don't know if it's Matt Mercier or Matt Mercer,
I think it's
because
Matt.
it's one or the other,
It's
and the
Matt.
other
It's
one
Matt.
is one or the other. So like we said in Resident Evil
Are you
4
saying
podcast,
there's two guys named Matt
it's either, yeah, because there's Paul Mercer and then Matt Mercier, or it's Paul Mercier and Matt Mercer.
Okay, it's Matt Mercer then,
That's
because
okay. So this is a fucking
I know
Google
for a
question.
fact there's a Matt Mercer because he voiced Vincent Valentine in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Hey Siri, who voiced Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 6?
Matthew Mercer voiced Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil
It's
6.
Matthew Mercer. So Paul Mercier is the other one from Resident Evil 4.
Who did he voice?
Leon
Oh.
in Resident Evil 4 in the
Oh,
original.
okay.
Because
I'm not good with memorizing like
Nick
people.
Apostolides did them in the remake and 2 and 4. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so
What's his
it is
name?
Nick Apostolides.
Nick Apostolides.
Yeah, how wouldn't it be great to talk to him? Man, that would be great.
That's interesting because I didn't even know.
He's a little bit above our pay grade, though.
Yeah, I didn't even
Yeah.
realize like he had a different voice act. They did such a good job casting
Yeah,
the
the
voice
original
actors
was Paul
because he
Haddad.
sounds so
Rest in
they
peace.
sound so good. They sound
Rest
so
in
much like.
peace to Paul Haddad.
Of course,
Better rest in. Yeah, you
the
better.
legend. That's my favorite version of Leon. Hell, I made him an
Yeah.
emote on my Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Well, not him, but Leon from RE2.
Yeah. Well, his Leon.
Yeah. It's my favorite version of Leon. I love.
Okay,
I
so now
love.
we've established this, so for future episodes we can fucking try to remember. It is Matt Mercer
Yeah.
and Paul Mercier. So
Well,
it's like the 6 degrees of separation, because you have Paul Haddad, then Paul Paul Mercier.
yeah, I think you said something like
See,
that.
fuck, I can't even remember. Paul Mercier and then Matt Mercer.
I
And
remember.
it's like
I just remember Matt Mercer because he voiced Vincent Valentine in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I know you're not huge
Really?
on and I know you're not huge on Final Fantasy, but I am. So he voiced Vincent Valentine, a fan favorite character in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'm sure he's gonna come back to voice him again when part 3 comes out, remake part 3. But anyways, Matt Mercer's great. He's done other roles. I just can't think of any on the top of my head. But I know, as I believe he was in a Persona game. Actually, now that I think about it, I think he did something in Persona 5. He played a character that I really liked. I might be wrong about that, but he's a really good voice actor, though. Amazing voice actor, Matt Mercer.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, is there anything else that we can talk about or touch on? We still got to get to our ranking system, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Any other
RE6 sucks ass.
RE6 sucks ass?
I'm just fucking around.
Fair enough.
I'm just fucking around. I like it.
So what's your
look,
ranking, 2?
Seriously,
3?
Anybody who's listening, seriously, I do like the game. I like it. I just don't like it as much as literally any other Resident Evil game in the main series. Now, if we're talking about a game like Operation Raccoon City, which is a spin-off, I like it more than that because that's a spin-off and it's not as good, in my opinion. I like it more than Resident Evil Reverse. Hell, Resident Evil Reverse isn't even a fucking game. It's garbage. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, of all the main line entries, of all the numbered entries, it's my least favorite, but I still like it. What would I give it as a rating?
Yes.
7 out of 10, probably.
7 out of 10.
Yep. Good game, but not my favorite. 7 out of 10 for me is just good. Good game.
All right. Back in the day when it came out, after playing it, I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I kind of did. Yeah.
After revisiting it and comparing it with the movies, I bumped it up, so I give it a 7 as well.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. When I first played it, it was more like a 6 with me as well. Like I said, I had to stop playing it for a few days. I couldn't take it when I got like most of the way through Chris's campaign. I was just like, this is just too much. I can't believe this is a Resident Evil game. But the more I played it, and when I went back and played it a few more times, it grew on me more. and that's when I eventually bumped it up to my score of a 7 out of 10, which is the
it
lowest
grew
I've
on
ever.
me too. I've never played it online
Which is the,
with the end of campaign with somebody. Did both by myself. So
I actually played it with Electric online. It was fun.
yeah.
But yeah, it is the lowest I've ever scored a Resident Evil game. Um, the well,
At this point,
yeah, well, I mean, it's my least favorite, so you're not gonna hear any other
yeah.
Resident Evil game that we review. That's part of the main entries are always gonna be higher than 7. Um, what did I give? I gave RE8 an 8.5, I believe I said.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was switching between 8 and 8.5, and I think I ended up going with 8.5.
Yeah,
Most
you were pretty indecisive with what you wanted to give that score.
8.5 sounds good to me. I gave RE3 Remake an 8, I believe. Yeah, I gave it an 8. Um, most of the ones we talked about, I gave a 10 though, because most of the ones we've done are some of the best
Because
ones.
we absolutely love Resident Evil around here at the
That too.
Biohazard
Yeah,
Bros
that too.
podcast. I
Yep.
mean, of course we are. Of course we are.
But
And to those, I'm sure there are those that have listened. Well, let's be real. I'm sure not a lot of people are listening to us at this point right now because we're still so young. But those are listeners like, these fucking guys are always giving these games a 10. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
well, that's
It's a
because
fucking Resident Evil podcast. We love this
yeah,
fucking game
and we
series.
started off with the best ones too. You know, we
Absolutely.
went in order, and but yeah. But
Well, bro.
they're not all 10 out of 10s though. That's for sure. But a lot
Yeah.
of them are.
Well,
Like
we finally we crawled through this one, right? We crawled through Resident Evil 6. I
yeah.
remember when you said, let's just get it over with.
Oh, we
Well,
got it
we
over
got
with.
through it.
Yep.
It's not that bad of a game.
It really isn't.
The it's a fun game. It's not the best Resident Evil game, but it is a fun video game.
Yeah.
The
That's what
replayability on it is meh,
I
but
think it has decent
it
replayability
just
to upgrade
depends. It
weapons and
depends on
stuff.
whose campaign. It
But
depends on whose campaign.
yeah, and also that's the thing a lot of people say about this game is that it's a fun game. It's just not, or it's a good game. It's just not a good Resident Evil game. And
Yeah.
in a way, that's kind of true. I never really liked that statement because I don't know, but
I mean, it's a Resident Evil game,
yeah, because it is a
but
Resident
it's
Evil
not a
game. But
Resident. Okay, it's a. All right,
I know what they're
I
trying to
like the
say,
statement because
but
it's a fucking Biohazard game. It's not a Resident Evil game. This is
right,
more on the lines of the Biohazard moniker, and it makes sense for that. So if this game was to be called Biohazard, like let's say like Resident Evil Biohazard 6, or rather than what they did with 7, because they could have just called Resident Evil 7 or Biohazard 7.
yeah,
But like this really stands out as the reason why it's called Biohazard in Japan for me personally. But anyway, I don't have too much more to say about this game.
neither do I. It's fun,
Well, that's
but
it,
it's
guys.
not the
That's the
best.
show. Yep.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. All right. Before we go, with just a little bit of like plugs here.
Before we go do our RE6 marathon, we're gonna play the whole game in one sitting on stream together.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We would just want to give a shout out to all those who listen. We thank you guys. I
Absolutely.
really appreciate you. You're the reason why we do this show.
Absolutely.
I post these videos on both of our channels at Kenjira 1980 and Colin 255 on YouTube.
Yep.
And we can also be found on Spotify at the Biohazard Bros podcast. Please go there and review the show. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm sounding like I'm pandering here. Like, please.
No, we would very much appreciate it.
No, but we would very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
It helps with the algorithms.
It sure
and
does.
It helps us to grow. You know what I'm saying? We do this as a labor of love right now, but we would like to see it reach more people.
Yeah.
So that we're not just talking to ourselves. But,
yeah. We love talking about Resident Evil, and we want more people to hear it and more people to talk to about it.
To have a good time listening to us, have a good time talk about our favorite video game.
We
so
can
go check us out there.
Leave in the comment section stuff. Yeah.
Yes, leave comments. Leave comments. We always interact. So leave comments. Check us out at the Biohazard Bros Facebook page. We do have a Discord server, but I don't really get on there and monitor it, so nobody's on there. So
I didn't even know we had one.
Out, you can. Yeah, it's in the description. I'd like to give a big shout out to Dwayne Carlton Merritt. We know him as Resi Zero for the new intro. We're not going to use
Thank
it
you,
just
Dwayne.
yet. Yes, we're going to be breaking that one out soon. Probably when we have him back on the show, we're going to introduce that with him on. It only makes sense because he made it.
He's the man. He's
shit.
awesome.
And we fucking love you, Dwayne.
It's really,
Thank you.
It was really cool too.
Yeah, we
seeing it.
can't wait to show you guys that. I've already put it up though on my Facebook page, so you guys can see it. It's a little,
Resi
I have
Zero's
two
the
versions of
man.
it. He sent me the original one. He sent me. I tweaked it a little bit for the show, but then I have the one that I did that I got some feedback from the people in the community.
Mhm.
It was a little bit too much like what Residents of Evil has done with some of their intros, and I'm like, oh, let's just tweak it back a little bit away from that to be a little bit more distinct. But I kind of took inspiration from them because they're the fucking shit.
Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, anyways, thank you, Dwayne, for that. Thanks, guys, for listening. We really appreciate you.
Follow us on Twitch.
And yeah. Oh yeah, our Twitch channels. Yeah.
Colin
BFG 255
with
and
2
Kenjira
L's.
80.
Yep. Colin BFG 255 with 2 L's.
Yep.
And Kenjira
But that's
80.
been the episode, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us on this episode of the Biohazard Bros podcast, and we will see you next time.
Hell yeah.
Peace.
Biohazard Bros Podcast.